Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to probably the only Checkerboard podcast episode of the big 2025. I'm your host, DefaltEVM, or Default, or Alex, or whatever you choose to call me. Totally up to you. But welcome back to the channel. And I want to talk about this podcast because way back when, this was a podcast that I initially started by myself. It is a podcast where I pretty much went and talked about whatever the hell I wanted. It was a really fun podcast that I did, and I really enjoyed it. Um, and then back in 2023 or 2024, I want to say 2023 though, I ended up restarting the podcast with my good friend Liam. And we ended up talking about more things. And then we invited my good friend Gunnar to join. And so Gunnar joined the podcast. And then later on we invited Jordan and he joined the podcast. And so at one point there was four of us and we were all hosts together. And it was just our little weekly thing, or at least we tried to make it weekly. And it was a really fun time. But as you can tell, there really was not any episodes for well over a year almost. And the reason for that is because of numerous things. I'm still friends with all of them. They're all my really close best friends. In fact, Liam was maybe gonna join tonight. He might join that episode, maybe potentially. I don't really know for sure. But the other two won't be joining. I think Gunnar is officially retired from the podcast, so Gunnar probably won't be joining. Maybe he'll show up every now and then, but that's not guaranteed. And Jordan, I think, is just overall busy with his own streams, and so I don't really know if he has the time to do the podcast anymore, so I'm not all too worried about that. But me and Liam plan to try and bring this podcast back because it genuinely was one of my favorite things of the week to do whenever I was doing the podcast. It was something where I could just go on little rants and talk about whatever the hell I wanted to rant about and could just rant about whatever. And ultimately, there are a lot of things I would love to rant about from this year when it comes to like stuff like the Vaughn situation, which is something that I went through that I want to talk with Liam on an episode about, so that might not be this episode. In fact, I probably will just make it its own episode like next week or something. But there's a lot of things that I really, really want to talk about when it comes to the podcast because I genuinely miss ranting into a mic. And I still do it on occasion when I do my like Yappuccino videos, which have been a substitute to this podcast for a while, where I rant about stuff with like my real life. And I don't know, I think it's more fun to do it as like a podcast like this. I will still do Yappuccinos, but yeah, I just, I love yapping into a mic and just talking about random ass shit. But regardless, I want to talk about why this podcast kind of fell off the face of the earth for a pretty long time. So, the last big podcast episode that we did was one where we had on this voice actor, who is actually the voice actor of Diana from Project Eden's Garden, and that's Snow, whatever you choose to call them. And that was the day where something really tragic happened in my life. I've addressed it enough times on the channel that I don't really feel like I need to mention it. I don't really want to drag it out because I've talked about it enough times to the point where I'm kind of tired of talking about it. But regardless, after that event, I was motivated to do like my YouTube stuff, but that was just kind of the end of like us doing the podcast together. Things got really busy in my life. Um, the other podcast members had other things going on in their life. Liam had a kid. Jordan put a lot more commitment into his like streaming with like WWE stuff, and Gunnar just ultimately wanted to kind of step away from doing content for a pretty long time. Had other things that Gunnar had going on in his life as well. So ultimately, the podcast pretty much just kind of ended. And we did one little episode where I really kind of asked like Jordan, and I tried to ask Liam like, hey, let's try and do it back towards the end of, I want to say it was around this time of the year. We wanted to go and we were gonna call it like the traveling episode, where we all were like kind of traveling to the King of Prussia Mall over here in Pennsylvania. But we didn't end up doing it like that. I think it was just me and Jordan that did an episode together. Maybe I don't think Liam was there for it, but regardless, um, I just kind of decided that at that point the podcast was kind of done for. Everyone kind of had their own things going on, and it was just something that was just not going to work out. So for the last year, I've just kind of prioritized my content as just doing like Fangin content and just like streaming Dead by Daylight or other things in general. And I kind of just gave up on the whole podcast thing. But I had been in talks with Liam for a while now, because Liam has gotten his life kind of situated, because I think I said it already, but like he had a kid and he was trying to find like a balance between, you know, when can I have time for myself versus when can I have, time for like his son. Or did I word that right? Sorry, sometimes I would be a tweak. I'm not gonna lie, I'd be a tweaker. But that, I mean, that's Liam's whole story to talk about. But regardless, we kind of brought up like, hey, we should bring back the podcast. And for a while now, I've really wanted to do it. And honestly, my dream to kind of, not dream, but like my wish to like start it up again, kind of like, it really kind of happened recently. Because I noticed it's been a year since we did an episode. And I'm like, you know what? Let's just bring it back. Let's just bring back the fucking podcast. Why the hell not? So today's episode is gonna kind of be just a reflection of my year overall. Usually towards the end of the year, I like to make a video where I reflect on everything that I kind of had throughout the year. I like to do like a little clip montage, stuff like that. I don't really know if I'm gonna do that this year, because I've ultimately kind of decided that, like, I don't know, it's not really been a thing I really like to do as much anymore, and it takes a lot of time and energy. I think ultimately what kind of checked me out was whenever I did my like decade review, where I posted clips from like my whole decade on YouTube. I think that's where I kind of got checked out from doing stuff like that. But regardless, I want to talk about like my year, because this has been a really crazy year for me. And I'll just be honest with you guys. I think this year has genuinely been such a like mental health what is the word? Like, it's really helped me out a lot this year compared to like how last year ended with like, the whole thing I went through. It's genuinely been such an amazing year. Like, I've done so much stuff, and that was my goal for this year. I set myself a goal at the beginning of the year, which I've said this in a video before. I think New Year's goals are fucking stupid, because you can start whatever goal you want to at whatever time. Um, I I think they're pointless. You can do whatever goal you want at any point you choose to start it. So let me begin with what I was gonna say. This year was really fun because it was a year where I really just like went out and I did so much shit. I did so much shit. Was it a very financially smart year? Probably not. But to me, I don't really think that matters, because I think my big priority of this year was really just improving my mental health, my improving my mental state from last year, because it was just rough. That year ended so badly. So I'm going through my phone, like, photo library to kind of like take me back to the beginning of this year. Like, what did I do at the beginning of this year? To start off, I spent New Year's with like my one of my best friends. Me and her spent the whole night together. Um, I got drunk for the first time. That was the first. I've never gotten drunk in my life. That was the first time, and I felt very goofy, very silly. Um, so that was the first. It was a fun time. It was a blast, and yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. I mean, it was a fun time. First New Year's kind of celebrating like that. Um, then we had the TikTok shutdown, which people feel probably really mixed on that. I'm sure there's a lot of people that were like, "Yippee, TikTok's gone! Yay, fuck TikTok!" For me, I'm like, "Damn, bro," because I actually really liked using TikTok as like a good social media. I can't speak right. A good social media platform to like improve, like, I could put out more content and people could find my content a lot easier, because the For You page is genuinely one of the best features on like any social media page, because anyone can get viewed on anything. Um, you're welcome to disagree with me on that, but like, I genuinely think the For You page is a really, really good feature that any social media has. I mean, Twitter's kind of the same. Like, you can sometimes go off like a banger tweet, but I feel like if YouTube or with like videos, you're a lot more creative. You can do a lot more creative shit with that. So like that kind of sucked. I don't know, but eventually it came right back up. Like it came back up like within like the day or two. Um, Regardless, we had that. Um, I could go through some of these little minor events that happened throughout the year. That were kind of funny. You know, actually, yeah, I will tell some of these stories. Um, so one of my, I don't want to say favorite days of the year because it wasn't one of my favorites, but um, there was this day where there was this really, really crazy snowstorm that was gonna happen that day. Um, I had, I want to say I had just gotten out of work. Let me check the time on this. I don't want to say I just got out of work and then I'm completely wrong. Um, Actually, yeah, I think I did. So I had either gotten out of work that day or I had off. I genuinely I couldn't tell you. But doesn't really matter. I went to go to Shake Shack because I was really craving a burger that day. I was really craving a good old Shack burger. And I go through the drive-thru, and here's something that I need you guys to know about me is that I am both a not that picky eater, but also a very picky eater. And one of the things that I really do not enjoy is lettuce. I fucking hate lettuce. And I know some people are gonna be like, well, default, it's just water leaves. Oh, it's just leaves. Why are you crying about leaves? I don't like how it fucking tastes. I don't like the texture. I don't want leaves in my fucking food. I don't eat salads. Go ahead and call me a Big Mac. I don't give a fuck. I hate lettuce. That's my fucking crash out of the day. Anyway, as I'm ordering the Shack burger, I made it very, very clear. I said, hey, I do not want any lettuce on my burger. I said, can I have a Shack burger with no lettuce? They okay, actually no, I'm not gonna skip that part. I need to go through everything else. Um, they take my order. I order like fries or whatever as well and a shake, and so I'm going through. I pay for my order, and you know, for me, I'm driving. I don't really want to have a burger as I'm driving. Like, I'd rather like sit down and like wait until I get home to have the burger or whatever. So as I'm driving, I'm just like picking up the fries, like taking sips from my shake if I had my shake. Again, I don't really remember if I did have a shake at the time. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't fucking matter. I'm eating, my fries, and after I kind of finish the fries, I'm like, all right, I guess I'll try and take a bite of like the hamburger while ever I'm like, or like the Shack burger whenever I'm driving. I reach out my bag and I feel the burger. First thing I notice is why the fuck is there no bun? Why is there not a bun? And so that was the first thing that threw me off is I'm like, why am I feeling just a patty? What is going on? I look down in the bag. I peek over. My fucking burger is completely covered in goddamn lettuce. I have never been trolled harder once in my life. I think that might have been the biggest I've gotten trolled ever. That will forever be something that sticks with me. And listen, I still love Shake Shack. I still do think it's fun or it's good, and like I will still order from there. Let me just tell you how quick I turned my car around, and I'm like, brother, nope, we're not doing this. We are not fucking doing this. So I go back, I turn around, I go to Shake Shack, and I tell them, why do I have a fucking burger that's covered in lettuce? Okay, I mean, let me make it clear. I didn't yell at the. I have worked retail most of my life. All right, I wouldn't yell at someone like that. I would never make someone feel bad about that. But I said to them like, hey, so I ordered a burger and it asked for no lettuce. You guys wrapped my burger in lettuce. Um, that is not what I asked for. And they're like, oh, we're so sorry. Did you ask for anything else? And they were like panicked because they thought that I was gonna crash out on them. Which, like, sure, I was really fucking annoyed, but I'm not gonna crash out on a retail worker, dude, or like a fast food worker. Like, don't. I'm saying this for everyone to chat. Don't ever do that. If you disrespect retail workers or food service workers, get a fucking grip. That's what I gotta say. Um, but yeah, so that was just one of the days of my life. And then after I like went and I did that, I went over to my friend's house and it was my first D&D session. We did like a one shot. Um and again, I don't really know too much about D&D. I've literally only played it once in my life. And I made a character that was called Ace, right? Spelled like my character from, or one of my favorite characters from One Piece. His like tattoo is like ASCE. It was a weird way to spell it. The premise of the character was that this dude is just gives zero fucks about anything except for gambling. Any opportunity he sees to gamble, buddy's taking it. Um, and any of the money that he would have gotten during that mission, whenever like we were in the campaign, any of the money he would have gotten from that, oh, I was going straight to the, like, we're going straight to the casino. We're going and fucking gambling. Um, and so the one shot ends with like me and one of my like best friends, like, um, our characters survive and we get like the prize money or something like that from the dungeon or from like the lady that like hired our characters or I don't remember the exact premise of the one shot, but um we get the money and my character goes and he's like, all right, now that we got paid, time to go to the casino. We go to the casino and they're like, how much do you want to wager? Ace, my character, is like, oh buddy, I'm wagering everything. We're going double or nothing. We want nothing. We want nothing. I got no money. Um, he went big and went home. That's the easiest way of saying it. So that was my experience with that. Oh, and by the way, the whole time during this one shot, I knew it was gonna snow that day. Like, I'm talking about real life anymore. I'm not talking about like the campaign anymore. I knew it was gonna snow. Let me just tell you, the whole time I was at my friend's house, um, it was like so much snow. Like it was so much. Like I'm not kidding. It was probably like, I want to say it was like 6 or 8 inches of snow. I was almost close to making a 6-7 joke, but I'm not gonna do that. I'll spare you the 6-7 joke this time. But there was like so much snow, and my parents are calling me like, Alex, you need to get home. This weather is crazy. You should not be driving back in the snow. And I think at the time I didn't get my tires replaced, so I had really shitty tires still. And I'm like, bruh, the snow can't be that bad, first off. And second, I am not stressing about no snow. Listen, I can take my time when it comes to driving. I am not like someone that's like, I see the snow and I'm like, all right, time to drive normally. That is like one of the things that pisses me off is whenever it's like icy out and I'm driving really, really slow. Like I'm on like the highway or something, and then I have a jackass in a truck. It's usually always truck drivers every time too, by the way. Anytime it's a fucking truck driver, they're riding my ass and they start throwing their hands up and they just switch lanes and they start speeding off. And it's like, I'm sorry that you have a death wish and I don't. Like, genuinely, fuck off. Don't bother me like that. Anyway, I'm making a fucking scenario in my head and getting angry at it. Um, but yeah, so like my parents are like telling me like, oh, you should go home, whatever. I'm like, yeah, like I'm just gonna wait until later on. I'm staying here for like, I if I tried to tell my parents I was playing Dungeons and Dragons, I don't really think they'd understand that. They'd probably have no clue they'd probably think I'm fucking crazy. They're like, you're doing what? Just like, so I'm just like, I didn't bother. I was just like, yeah, I'm at one of my close friend's house. I'll be fine. And then I eventually drive home. It's fucking pitch black out. My car is covered in those like, I don't remember how much snow it was. I almost want to say 6 inches, but I could be totally wrong. I have to like get all the snow off my car, and I have to drive home in this like icy roads. And as I'm driving home, like, I'm taking my time, being very careful, um, and I go to make a turn after I get off the highway, which the highway was already kind of scary because I was icy. But once I got up to like the exit and I went to turn right, bro, my car was so close to spinning. I was like, I was in a tweak. It was wild. Um, but yeah, that was the first part of the year. Um, Second part, um, or not first part of the year. I don't know why I'm saying first part of the year. That's one of the most memorable things I can think about for like this year. second, as you guys may or may not know, I am a huge Weeknd fan, and I was waiting for the longest time. Like, Dawn FM came out in 2022, and I really do love that album. And I know some people are gonna be lost on like half the shit I'm about to say right now, because like me, I imagine half the chat doesn't listen to The Weeknd, but I don't know. I'm still gonna go on this like tangent anyway. Um, so I'm like waiting for The Weeknd's album to drop. I remember it getting delayed. I was just losing it, bro. Um, and eventually it drops album of the year. I still stick to that to this day. Album of the fucking year. Nothing beats it. I listened to a bunch of different albums this year. The only closest one for me at least is Jane Remover's Revenge Seekers. That was a really good album. Um Deadbeat from Tame Impala was solid. It wasn't my favorite album of all time. But it did have really good songs on it. I'm not a Tyler the Creator fan that much, but I did really kind of like Don't Tap the Glass. I felt that was a fun album for what it was. But I mean, either way, it doesn't matter. Weeknd's album, amazing. But after he dropped the album, he announced his tour, which the tour was going to go to like so many different cities and so many different states. And the second I saw that, I told my best friend, I'm like, okay, hey, so we're going to the concert, right? 100%, right? And she's like, oh yeah, I was actually just about to ask you. And so we were locked in. Back in, I want to say February, whenever the, concert got announced, we were locking in. We were going to that concert. Um, and so that's what we did. We ended up going. Fucking banger time. Um, we're we'll talk about how that concert went a little bit later on, but just note, concert happens. That was one of the first big things. Next up, we had one of the videos that I did not get to release for this year. I mean, at least not yet. I'm still waiting for the footage for it. Otherwise, I would maybe consider dropping it soon. Back in February, me, Liam, and Jordan all decided to do a tier list video, which it would be the second one on the channel, but the third one we've done all together. And when I say tier list video, I'm not talking about like ranking Danganronpa characters or like ranking shit like pixels on a screen. No, I'm talking like legit. We try shit and we rank it on a like tier list, and we say this is where this goes. Like we did a milk tier list video, which I know some people in the chat are gonna be like, "What the fuck? You did a milk tier list?" Yes, we did do a milk tier list, and that was one of the most fun experiences I've done on this channel. Did my stomach hurt a little bit afterwards? Yeah, sure it did, but like it was worth it. But anyway, we did a Dunkin' Donut tier list video. We tried 25 different donuts. My stomach felt like shit after that video, bro. I don't even think I could finish the last few donuts because my stomach hurt so bad. I hope that video gets to see the light of day at some point, but man, let me just tell you, that was a fucking experience and a half. Again, that will hopefully see the light of day someday, just unfortunately not yet. Another thing I did throughout this year was I tried going to bars. I am 22, or I was 22 years old throughout most of this year up until September when my birthday was. So yes, I am old enough to go to bars. I mean, I don't really feel like I need to explain that, but yes. I ended up going to bars for the first time because one of my friends, he went to a college and they had a college bar. And he invited me to go for bingo, which I was like, bingo at a college bar sounds interesting. I've never done anything like this. I want to be a lot more social this year. Fuck it, we ball. Let's go. So I ended up going to these college bars, and we would sit there and we would play bingo and we would chit chat. I mean, for me, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like I could have done a lot better job of chit chatting. I'm still trying to get on my shell, guys. Like I won't lie. I can be a very social person, but sometimes it takes me a while to open up. So we end up playing bingo, and it's not typical like number bingo. It's like they play a song and you have to guess what the song is. And then if you don't guess the song, eventually they do tell you. But you just want to try and get like, you either want to get typical bingo where you're trying to get in a line, either going horizontal, vertical, or diagonal. And then they do like a shape one where you have to try and get a shape. And then they do like a blackout where you have to get the whole board filled out. Never once did I win. Tragic. I know, but after that, we would usually go and we did cup pong, which I finally, learned how to play that. Not that it's a very hard thing to play, but like it was I don't know. I don't think I was ever that goated at it, but I did enjoy playing it. It was a fun thing to do. So there was that, and again, it was a cool experience. Like I got out of the house and I went and did shit, and it was a fun time. Um, so that was that. But let's get into the really interesting stuff. The stuff that like honestly was the most fun stuff this year for me. Um, Conventions. As you guys know, I fucking love my conventions. I will go to conventions, I will meet voice actors, I will spend unreasonable amounts of money, and I will have a fucking banger time. So the first convention I went to this year was I want to say, wait, yeah. Okay, all right, yeah, it was. I was like, I had to double check myself. I was like, wait, was that this year or that last year? First convention I went to this year was a convention called Zenkai Con. Zenkai Con is one that's in Pennsylvania, and it's in Lancaster, and it's a really cool convention. It's a very small one, but they got a bunch of really solid voice actors. They had what is his name? Fuck. They got ProZD, the YouTuber, which I know he's very mixed for some people. For me, I personally like ProZD. I don't have any issues with him. So I got to meet him, but they also had Gato from Jujutsu Kaisen, his voice actor. So it was really cool. It was really really cool getting to meet both of them. Obviously, it was more than just them, but I went there first day at the con. I don't think I did any cosplay at all. I just went by myself and I had a fun time. I think I kind of dressed up as Ace a little bit. Like I just put on like an Ace hat and like a shirt that had Ace on it. So like I did that and called it a day. But I took a bunch of pictures of like cosplayers I met there. Everyone was so nice, bro. That's one of my favorite things at cons. It's like I always have good experiences like everyone there. Although I will tell you guys, whenever I was in line to meet ProZD, there was this guy that's standing in front of me. I genuinely could not describe how fucking bad that person smelled. I will never stress enough how much people need to use deodorant before they go to like a convention or something like that, or like when they're at a convention. Genuinely, the people that don't use deodorant fucking disgust me, especially conventions. Like if you're not using deodorant, holy fuck, bro, get it together, get it together. I don't know how else to say it. Get it fucking together. So then I went and met ProZD. He was really cool. I told him keep up the good work, and he was low key goaded. But yeah, so got to meet him, and then the other thing I did on day one, I think did I meet both of them on day one or did I meet them both on day two? Sorry, I'm like looking through my camera roll. I actually don't remember. Um, Regardless, one of the things I did while I was there was I went to the Danganronpa meet and greet, and it was pretty cool. Um, there was one person there that was actually dressed as Celestia Ludenberg, and I was like, bro, I was low key hype. I was like, dude, I was hoping I would see one fucking gambler there. If you guys don't know who Celestia Ludenberg is, if you've never watched or played Danganronpa, she is this like goth gambler type girl. I don't really know how else to describe her. That's literally what she is. Um, but the other special thing about Celestia Ludenberg is that at the end of last year, I made a deal with my chat or my community or just, the people on my channel that once I hit 3K subs, there will be a community poll on like the YouTube polls where they would get to vote for my cosplay and who I would dress as. And the character that won was Celestia Ludenberg. So whenever I went to this convention and I met with the Celestia Ludenberger burger, oh my god, I'm stuck on that whole Shake Shack thing. When I met the Celestia Ludenberg cosplayer there, I remember like hyping her up. I was like, "Bro, your cosplay's so fire, what?" And then I don't know if this is ridiculous to say this now, but I was like, "So I'm not gonna lie, um, my ass is gonna be in the same cosplay you're in right now in like a week or two." And she was like, "Oh, that's interesting." And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, no, it'll be quite the time." And I don't. think I told her that I was a YouTuber, because I feel like that would have been a really awkward conversation. I feel like it's self-glazing at that point. Like, you guys can disagree with me if you want, but like, man, I genuinely feel like that'd be self-glazing if I was like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm a YouTuber. I actually had to do a cosplay of this because my community voted for it. Like, I don't know. I feel like that's kind of cringe, personally. So I go and I take pictures for like the whole like Danganronpa meet and greet. It was really cool. Like I said, a lot of people there were pretty nice. Um, I won't lie. There was points where it was like really cringe because like listen, I love the Danganronpa people. I love the Danganronpa fandom. But man, I would be lying to you guys if I said that some of the people in the fan base weren't cringe. Like it was a little bit cringe at points. Um, Regardless, I wrap up that convention, and I end up going to my next convention a week or two later, where me and Liam ended up going to GalaxyCon Richmond. Let me just fucking tell you guys, I was losing my goddamn fucking mind during that drive to Richmond. I genuinely had such a miserable ass ride. It was, dude, I just remember so many fucking things happening. There was someone that was stopped in the middle of the fucking road. Like, their car, like, I don't remember if it was, like, their car, like, exploded or what it was, but there's, like, all these people standing around the road. I'm like, brother, pull to the fucking side of the road. Why are we just standing in the middle of the road? And just, like, man, it was something else. So, after what felt like a fucking 20-year drive to Richmond, Virginia, which, by the way, Richmond, Virginia is a lot closer to me than Raleigh, North Carolina, which is the drive that I did, like, the previous year in, like, January. Holy fuck, bro. I genuinely felt never so miserable during a drive. But anyway, we get there, and we actually just decided that we were going to go to the con that day to just knock out one of the things. So I got on my Gojo cosplay, Liam got on his Gato cosplay, and we just ended up going. We met some of the voice actors. We met, what was his name? Fuck, I'm trying to remember what his name is. He's the voice actor of, oh, Justin Cook. Okay, I found it, Justin Cook, because I just pulled up the pictures. Dude, I genuinely loved Justin Cook. He was so fucking cool to me. He was really cool. He voices, if you're not familiar with who he voices, he's Yusuke Urameshi from Yu Yu Hakusho, if you're familiar with that anime. He is Eustace Kid in One Piece, useless Captain Mid for those who are diehard One Piece fans. And then he's also Kirishima from My Hero Academia. Very, very cool guy. Very cool. He was really cool to talk to. He was really cool in taking pictures. Genuinely had such a pleasant experience with that guy. Then we ended up just pretty much just going around shopping the rest of the con. I feel like I talked about most of my experience at the con, like, in another video, so I won't really drag this out for too long. But, like, essentially, I got to meet a bunch of really cool people, but the last day is the most important. Well, actually, I'll mention one thing from the second day, is I got to meet one of the people I've wanted to meet the most when it came to, conventions, and that was Travis Willingham. Travis Willingham, if you don't know who that is Ace's voice actor. He's also on Critical Role. He is Roy Mustang from Fullmetal Alchemist. Genuinely one of the biggest fucking aura farmers in, the voice acting community. Like, he's him. Him and his wife, Laura Bailey, go to duo. But regardless, the next day, I ended up going and I ended up meeting Jerry Trainer, which the Jerry Trainer meet and greet experience was one of the biggest pains in my ass, because day one, it was really, really not that busy, and he had no line, and we could have easily met him. But then, once we were about to get into line, we realized he had a sign up that said, oh, you have to only pay with cash. So we're like, okay, we'll just come back the next day and go. Next day, we're trying to go find an ATM, because a lot of things at the con just were down when it came to, transactions of, cards and whatnot. So it was like, oh, you need to have cash. So we literally had to fucking try and find a ATM at, half the goddamn things, half the hotels and stuff like that, and all of them were looted. They're all out of, money. It was like, dude, Holy shit! Are we dead ass? And like there would be lines in like there would be like a hotel like a few blocks down. There's still like a long ass line of people trying to get money out of it. And so eventually we just ended up going back. Um, I met Travis, which was, you know, like I said, the big thing I wanted to do like on the second day. But then it came down to day 3 and me meeting Jerry Trainer, aka Spencer from iCarly. And I knew what had to happen. I knew that day 3 was my Celestia Ludenberg day. It was the day that I had it planned out. And it unfortunately meant that if I was going to meet Jerry Trainer, it was going to have to be in the Celestia Ludenberg cosplay. So I leave the hotel in the Celestia Ludenberg cosplay, which that was also kind of embarrassing. I won't even lie. I went down to the checkout, and the fucking lady there is just like, I have to check out, and I'm like, hi, I'm here to check out. And bro, it was like probably a try not to laugh challenge for her, like, because she sees this grown ass dude in a fucking Lolita, I don't know how you say that, goth Lolita cosplay. Um, and I think the craziest part too was like a little kid walked by, and little kid's like, oh my god, Celestia Ludenberg, and I was like, oh my fucking god. So it was quite the experience. And then I actually met Jerry Trainer, and it was a really cool experience. It was really fun. And then I had to drive all the way back to Pennsylvania, and dude, I can't, bro. The Virginia drives, nope, no thanks. They're fucking awful. Um, but yeah, that was the GalaxyCon Richmond experience. Again, it was pretty fun. Just wow, man, I don't even know. That was something. Um, let's see, what was the next big thing throughout the year? Um, I guess I went to another convention afterwards. Um, actually, no, I have to give you a little bit of context before I talk about this next thing. But let me grab my water really quick because I am nonstop yapping, and I need a drink of water because after talking for so long, when it's just me, it gets me a bit much. All right. Okay, so a little bit of context before I talk about this next convention I went to. At the very beginning of the year, in February, I want to say, actually on Valentine's Day, I ended up just, you know, it was my first year in a pretty long time being single, and I had no clue what to fucking do on Valentine's Day. So what did I do? I got on my computer and I hopped on Minecraft and I played some fucking murder mystery because that is one of the few things that I really got back into was playing murder mystery on Hypixel. And on that fateful day, on Valentine's Day, I ended up meeting a group of people that were all playing together, and they invited me to join their Discord. And so I'm like, shit, bet. Okay, I mean, new people to play games with, why the fuck not? So, I ended up joining the Discord. I ended up making a lot of, like, really good friends on there. Like, genuinely one of the best things I did this year. And it was all because I decided to log on to Minecraft on Valentine's Day. And I made all these really cool friends. And one of the friends was a really big Weekend fan, like how I am. And so, a few months down the line, after we're kind of becoming closer friends and whatnot, um, me and some of my other friends kind of threw out the idea, wouldn't it be crazy if we like all met up to go to a weekend convention, or I almost said weekend convention, to go to like a weekend concert together? Like, would that be kind of crazy? And our one online friend is like, you know what? Honestly, my one friend that was supposed to go with me, they don't even really like the weekend like that. So I'll just like let them give the ticket that I had to someone else, and I'll just go with you guys. So the four of us, me, our one like friend from Hypixel, one of my other friends, Danny, who was actually in the stream earlier, Relaxing Time 77, him, and another one of our online friends, um, all decided, fuck it, we're gonna go and we're gonna go to a weekend concert together. So this is coming up around the corner at this point. Um, and then I end up going to a convention like literally the week before. Was it a smart choice financially? Probably not, to be honest with you. But I said, fuck it, we ball. And I wanted to go meet Nico Robin again from One Piece. So I went, I meet Stephanie Young again, who is the voice actor of One Piece. And dude, genuinely, I mean, this, like I said, this is my second time meeting her. Genuinely one of my favorite voice actors I've met. She's always so fucking sweet. She's really cool. Um, was like really cool to like sign my like leader card that I have for One Piece because like I said, I've played the trading card game. So that was very cool. I went as like Ace as like a cosplay, and it was just it was really fun. It was a fun experience. Only went by myself, but it was fine. I was chill with that. Um, so then a few weeks later, I decided, all right, I think it's or well, I didn't say. I don't know why I said it's all right. A few weeks later, it's weekend concert time. So I end up going and I actually no, you know what? There's one other thing I guess I did before that. I had to get my real ID for another convention I was going to later in the year. Um, at that point, I was like planning out that I wanted to go to Iowa for another GalaxyCon event, and so I had to go and I had to get my real ID. Let me just tell you guys, getting a real ID is such a fucking long and annoying process. Because, bro, tell me why I'm sitting in the DMV for, I want to say, like, genuinely, like, 4 hours. Meanwhile, there's all these people all sitting around me. It's it's extremely uncomfortable because there's no seats. Like most of the seats in there are taken. So I'm sitting on the ground, like leaning up against a wall, on the floor. Just it was so fucking uncomfortable. It was not fun. But eventually I got my real ID, and then it was like weekend concert time, like a day or two later. I don't know why I had to tell that story, but I mean, genuinely I just want to stress how annoying it was to go to the DMV for a fucking real ID. Real ID is so dumb. But real ID tangent aside, I end up going to the weekend concert, and meeting up with my friends, and it was a fun time. So I ended up I was pretty much like the designated driver. I told my friends I would go and pick them up because they were on the way, and then we would meet up with our online friend from Hypixel, over in New Jersey where the concert was. So I ended up doing that. We ended up going to the American Dream Mall, which that was my very first time being at that mall. Um, that mall was something else. That mall was genuinely one of the most interesting malls I've ever been to. Like the fact that it has a whole goddamn sorry, has a whole damn amusement park in it. Like that's fucking nuts to me. That's actually fucking nuts to me. Like why is there a whole goddamn anyway, it just blew my mind how crazy that amusement park was. Regardless, um, I go meet up with my one friend there. I was worried it was gonna be really awkward. I was scared that this experience was gonna be really awkward because like I have met online friends before, but like I don't know. It was interesting. I didn't know how this was gonna go. Really fun experience. The concert was fucking amazing, which I knew it was going to be because like the weekends my go. Ail's my guy. I love him, and he doesn't ever let me down. So, um, yeah. End up going to the concert. One of the most memorable things from that day though is whenever we first got to the mall and we're trying to get into the mall, um, I was going up to the automatic doors, right? And I was waiting to let me in. I was like turned around, kind of talking to my friends. So I'm like walking backwards somewhat into the door. I turn around. I'm expecting the doors to open because they're automatic doors, and my dumbass runs right into the doors. Like genuinely one of the most embarrassing experiences. Like it was so fucking awkward. Um, so it's whatever. It is what it is. But I enjoyed the concert. It was really fun. I ended up buying like a jersey there, which I've probably worn on stream numerous times. Genuinely was so cool. Um, and yeah, I mean, end up spending the night over there. Um, had someone to fill up my tank for me because that's a law in New Jersey. You can't fill up your own tank or some stupid shit like that. Let me just tell you guys, New Jersey sure is a fucking place that exists. It really is. It sure is a state that fucking exists. I have another story regarding New Jersey a little bit later on that maybe I'll talk about this stream. Who knows? Um, and so eventually, um, that was the weekend concert. It was fun. It was a cool experience. But around this time of the year, I decided, I think I'm ready to get myself a tattoo. I really want to get a tattoo for something that I really enjoy. And the weekend was really something that just this year just really, really helped me through my mental health struggle that I was going through. Like, it genuinely did. It was so, so, so helpful, his music. And people feel how they will about this music. Like, there's a lot of people that consider his music, like, really toxic. And, like, yeah, they're not really wrong with that. But, like, I don't know, there's just something about when you're, like, when you're in that single era and the weekend, it's just like his music is just it's something else. I don't know how to explain it. Um but yeah, so I decided, you know what? I think I want to get a weekend tattoo. I think that's what I want to do. And so this is what I started thinking, okay, what do I want to do for the weekend tattoo? And I ended up deciding that I wanted to get like all of the logos of his albums because his albums were really what helped me throughout this year. And so that's what I did. I genuinely really like how the tattoo came out too. Granted, this would be like a few months later, but I genuinely am so happy I got that tattoo. It's the first tattoo I ever got, and I'm excited to get more tattoos next year because I definitely plan to. Um, but anyway, one of the other things I did was I did a solo beach trip. That was a new thing for me. I've never really gone on a long ass like road trip, beach trip, or anything like that by myself. I'm always really used to going with someone else because I mean, I feel like it's kind of lonely just going on your own. But I ended up doing it. I ended up going on my own. Went to Rehoboth Beach, which is in Delaware, and it was still a fun time. I had a fun time with it. I got to see how it was during this busy time of the year because I genuinely don't remember the last time I went to the beach during summer. The last previous times I went to the beach were all during like October or like during like September or some kind of like fall month, which that's low key the strat, by the way, guys, is go during the fall months because like yeah, sure, it's not gonna be as like hot out, and it's not as good weather wise, but like bro, there's like no one there, so it's worth it. At least I would say it's worth it. Um, but yeah, so ended up going there. It was a fun time. Then it was um, what else did I do this year? Oh, I played Top Golf for the first time. That sure was an experience. Top Golf was like really interesting to me because like I always saw clips on like TikTok or like on YouTube of like Top Golf, and I genuinely never knew what the hell it was. Like I didn't understand how it worked. I didn't understand what the objective was. I was like, why the fuck are people just hitting balls into this like I don't know. It always the whole concept of Top Golf always just threw me off. I didn't know what it was. Ended up going in July, and it was really cool. So ended up doing that. Um, and it was fun. Quite the time. Finally, the other thing that I had waited for literally half the year. Um, also sorry, I have been reading. I have seen chat this whole time, by the way. But I've been just like kind of like not that I've been trying to ignore it, but I've been like focusing on my stories. Um, so someone in chat said, "Beach during the day or beach during the night? Which do you prefer?" Um, I would personally say like beach during the day, just because of like the sunlight. But I feel like beach during the night could be a vibe. I honestly okay. Beach during the day, boardwalk during the night. That's the thought process. I mean, personally, I'm a big boardwalk person in general. Like, I think the boardwalk is the best part of the beach. That might just be me, but like that's how I feel. Um, so yeah, that's the default take of the day. But regardless, the big thing I was hyped for literally since January or February was like going to like the weekend concert with my best friend. Genuinely, one of the best experiences of my life was that night. Cause holy fuck, dude, I was so much closer to like the stage than I would have thought, and I could actually see most of the show. Cause here's the thing: whenever I went with like my online friends, in June, we got nosebleed seats. It wasn't really a planned thing, and we didn't want to spend a crazy amount of money, and so we're like, fuck it, we're gonna get nosebleed seats, and it was so good. It was so fucking good. Um, Genuinely was so cool to see him so close, and the visuals were amazing. His singing was amazing. It was just an overall really fun experience. You know what wasn't a fun experience with that concert though? You know what made that night actually low key shit? I won't even lie. You know what it was? It was the fact that the people at the end of the fucking concert, everyone all trying to leave at once, apparently loses their mind and doesn't know how to fucking drive! That was the biggest crash out of the night, dude. Let me just tell you. The amount of entitled pieces of fucking shit when it came to leaving that concert was ridiculous. Fucking ridiculous. It is crazy how people just genuinely lose all ability of learning how to like drive or single file lines or anything like that when it comes to leaving a concert. Holy fuck, that pissed me off. I wasn't even the one driving and it still pissed me off. It was just, oh my god. Yeah, yeah. Worst fucking thing. Okay, um Liam's gonna do podcast with me tomorrow morning. So we'll go back to back. We'll go day to day. But yeah, that was still one of the most amazing concerts of my life. Other than that shitty ass leaving situation, genuinely a lot of fun. Um, then I got my tattoo. Um, like a few weeks later, and that was worth it. Um, and then I had. That's why I catch an Uber. I've never taken an Uber in my life. I'll keep it real with you guys. I've never taken an Uber. Never have. I personally like driving myself, even if it caused me to crash out. I love my Ubers. What can I say? Um. So anyway, um. Then we go to September. It's pretty close to my birthday, and I'm going to Iowa. Very first time I've gone to Iowa. I've never been like over that way. I've been to Texas and I've been to New Mexico. Never been to Iowa. I was going to Iowa to meet up with two of my online friends that I play games with like on a pretty much day-to-day basis. So it was a really exciting experience for me. Like the convention was one thing, but meeting this online friend, one of my friends that has been on the channel numerous times, squirting oranges or Danish cookies, um, genuinely has been one of my goals for like a really long time because we've been friends since 2019. We met on a fucking Discord server, and bro's been my goat. It's been fucking awesome throughout the years, and so meeting an online friend that you've had for that long is just genuinely one of the just most fun experiences. It was surreal, like it. I don't know how to explain the feeling, but like, man, it's really weird to hear a voice that you've only heard in your headphones for the last 6 years of your life. Just hearing the voice in person. It's such a weird, surreal experience. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but I was like, part of it was like, am I tripping? Like, is this actually like my friend? No shot. And like, I never really knew what my friend looked like, so that was the other thing that really threw me off. Is I didn't know who I was like expecting to see, but it was a really fun experience. Um, we ended up meeting a lot of different voice actors. We met Jerry Trainer again. We met Carl from The Walking Dead. I met a Danganronpa cosplayer of Nagito, who was really cool. I met Gus Fring from Breaking Bad. I met KG Tang. I met a bunch of different cosplayers for Dead by Daylight. It was a really fun time. Um, and that's what I did then. And in the last few months, I don't really think I've had anything too crazy that happened. I think the most crazy thing was I had a Halloween party with a bunch of my friends. And that was a really good night because I genuinely like, even though I have gotten to spend a lot of time with my friends this year, I haven't had a chance to really, how do you say it? To have like a big group thing. I hadn't had a chance to do a really big group thing. And then eventually I did, and it was really nice. It was fun. Um, and then that takes us to today. Um, where here we are. We're in December. It's December 10th. Um, and ultimately, what I gotta say is I'm really happy with where I'm at now, for the most part. Um, there are things I think I could definitely improve with my life. I enjoy where I'm at, content creation wise. I feel like I could still do more, and I want to do more. But it's been a year. It's been a really fun year, and it's a year that I'm really gonna look back on and be really happy that I did everything I did. Again, I could have gone to school. I could have done a lot of things that was technically a lot more financially responsible this year. But considering what I went through last year, I think I needed a year to just have a fucking good time, you know? And I'm grateful for all the people I spent my year with. Grateful for everyone that's been joining my streams for Tetro. That's also just been one of the big things. I didn't really bring it up because I feel like it's kind of self-explanatory because we're on the YouTube channel right now. But Tetro's genuinely being like, I know we have the thing with Vaughn, and that's gonna be the next podcast episode that I want to talk about with Liam. Um, where you know it really sucks that it has come to an abrupt ending like this. But without Tetro, I genuinely don't think I'd have like as big of a viewership when it comes to streams and whatnot as I do, or as I did. Um, just man, seeing the number of people in there just this is not something I'm used to. It's been wild. Um, but yeah, that has been the 2020 time. Ooh, that has been the 2025 wrapped kind of thing, I guess, for me. Looking back on all the highlights of this year, I feel like there are probably more stories I could have brought up, but I'm happy for what I brought up. I'm happy with everything that I've done this year. Um, but yeah, that's what I got for stream. Um, podcast will maybe be back tomorrow morning, perhaps. We'll have to see. Um, and yeah, that's what we got. I hope you guys are happy to see the podcast is back. I'm sorry it was just me. Um, next time it will be Liam, and from here on out, I'm hoping it will be both me and Liam. But I wanted to do an episode. It's been a while, and here we are, episode 48. Soon we'll get to episode 50, and maybe I can get the other two back in. Probably unlikely, but we'll have to see. Thank you guys for watching. Peace out. Keep it virtual. Peace.